AITA for ending wife's relationship with her best friend. A couple of years ago, I 32M asked my wife 30F to end her friendship with her best friend. Wife and I married last year, have been together for about 7 years. Wife's best friend, Alex, female, has been a long-time problem in wife's life from my perspective. On separate occasions, wife traveled across the country to stay with Alex for weekend trips, where they got into arguments where Alex ditched wife, leaving her by herself in the city alone. First time, Alex eventually picked her back up and brought her home. Second time, Alex and Alex's friends picked her up. Alex ridiculed my wife in front of her friends for the argument. I overheard some of this while on phone with my sobbing wife. Wife nearly ended friendship then, but Alex's wedding was 5 months after second incident. Wife and Alex rekindled friendship. Wife went to wedding, nervous that an issue would happen. I stood my ground and didn't go. Alex and I have had our share of issues. We've had poor interactions together over the years. After first incident with wife, Alex knew I despised her. After second incident in Alex's city happened, I was done with her. Did not encourage my wife to end their friendship because I figured it would happen naturally. I decided I wouldn't go to wedding. Wife went. Alex introduced wife to groom's best friend. Flirting between wife and best man happened. He wanted a hookup night of wedding. Wife turned him down. Wife flew home the next day, but had crush on best man. She didn't pursue contact with him, but talked about it with Alex, who encouraged it. Essentially played into the fantasy with Alex. Not the best action of my life, but I was suspicious about way wife was acting and one day looked through her phone. Saw all the texts with Alex about best man. Confronted wife about the whole incident. Months of couples therapy followed because I felt disrespected. Worked through that over time. I then got to the point where I was no longer comfortable with Alex being in either of our lives. Not only has she repeatedly hurt my wife, she has disrespected me, encouraged wife to pursue another relationship, act a cheat, and never adds any positive value into wife's life. I had tolerated her negatively affecting my wife, but was no longer comfortable after she affected my relationship. I wrote my feelings into a Word doc and printed it out for wife to read one night after dinner. I ended letter with telling her I was no longer comfortable with her having any relationship with Alex. She responded well, said she understood, and long story short, that relationship ended. Fast forward a while, in a minor argument, wife told me how uncomfortable she was with me, making her end her friendship with her best friend. She's glad she did it, but uncomfortable with me pressuring her into doing it. Was I in the wrong? Part of me feels bad for doing it, but like I said, I could tolerate Alex hurting my wife, but drew the line when her actions hurt me. To AITA for not siding with my wife and agreeing with my mother after she did a group punishment that made my middle child unliked by the other kids. My mother babysit almost all of the grandkids 3 times a week in the summer. I am very grateful she does this, and it saves us a ton of money. In total, she watches about 7 kids, and one of those kids is my middle child's son, Jamie. Jamie is a lot sometimes. He is 8 years old, and compared to his younger sister, he is less behaved. My mother has talked to my wife and I multiple times about him. She has done recommended timeouts. Overall, he doesn't behave much better after them. We have both talked to him about it, but no improvement. This is the issue. My mom was going to take all the kids to the pool with my dad. Jamie would not stop goofing around, running around, grabbing the other kids' pool stuff, and in general being loud annoying. My mom told him if he didn't stop, then no one would be going to the pool. He didn't stop, and she held true to her word. The rest of the day, all of the kids were mad at him. I picked them both up, and she informed me above what happened. Mom told me he behaved the rest of the day after that. Jamie was very upset about no one liking him. The kids basically ignored him. Even my youngest was pissed off at him. My mother told me that he needs to learn his actions affect other people, and I agree with her. I am 100% fine with her using social dynamics to get him to behave. It also seemed to work. She plans to take the kids to pool on Friday. I told my wife what happened, and she is pissed that my other did this. We had an argument, and she thinks I am being a huge jerk for agreeing with my mom. Edit. Jamie has been evacuated and nothing. Also, even if he did have something, I still think it would be fair game with what my mom did. 3 AITA for not telling my ex-wife that I reversed my vasectomy. My ex-wife, Jen 38F, and I 42M were married for 8 years before divorcing during the pandemic 4 years ago. We have 2 kids together, 13M and 10F, who we share custody of and co-parent well together. At her suggestion, I got a vasectomy after our daughter was born. I got remarried about a year ago to my new wife, Carrie 34F. Carrie does not have kids, but has always wanted a family. After many discussions prior to our engagement, I agreed to reverse my vasectomy to try to start a family with Carrie. I had the reversal procedure done just after our wedding. Carrie and I found out about a month ago that she is pregnant. She is currently about 15 weeks. We have not told anyone about the pregnancy until recently. I wanted to wait until I had an opportunity to tell my kids in person that they are going to have a younger sibling. Now that they are done with school, I had that chance this past weekend. Both of my kids were very excited and happy to hear the news. They get along great with Carrie and are excited to have a new baby Brosis. After I told the kids, they wanted to call their mom and tell her about it too. I was a little apprehensive because I didn't know how Jen would react and tried to convince them to let me tell her first. But my son ended up telling her via text before that. Jen sent me a text a few minutes later basically asking me WTF I was thinking. I texted her back saying that I would prefer not to have this conversation over text and asked if she was free for a chat. She said she wasn't and sent a flurry of texts asking me a bunch of questions. I again told her I would prefer to have this conversation in person or on the phone. She finally called me later that night and was not happy. She told me that I should have told her I reversed my vasectomy so that she could talk to our kids about it. I told her that my body and my life with Carrie is not her business, and that neither of our kids even know I had a vasectomy, let alone know what a vasectomy is. I've never told them I had one, so why would I tell them I reversed it? She told me that since this is going to have a huge impact on our kids' lives, that I should have told her about it first. She said that it is her business when it will directly impact our kids. I told her that it is my body and that my health choices are of no concern to her anymore. The conversation started getting heated, and I ended the call before things got too far. Jen has since calmed down and did send a text congratulating me and Carrie. But she still maintains that I should have notified her of my decision to reverse my vasectomy before things got to a point where Carrie is pregnant. She thinks that she had a right to know since it will impact our kids. I think she has no right to any information regarding what I decide to do with my body unless it is life-threatening. My marriage and life with Carrie is not information that my ex-wife has any right to. For AITA for going off on my roommate for trying to treat me like a housewife. I, 22M, have been living with my roommate. We'll call him Jesus, 23M, for about a year now. We met while working together at Home Depot and hit it off so well that we decided to move in together. I'm gay and Jesus is straight, and we've always had a great friendship. I'm naturally a tidier person, so I usually end up doing most of the cleaning around the house. Since I get home from work earlier than Jesus, I sometimes cook extra for him, but I never thought much of it. However, things have taken a turn lately. Jesus has started to expect me to always have the house clean and a hot meal ready for him when he gets home. When I don't, he gets angry and starts acting like it's my job. I shrugged it off at first, thinking he was just having a bad day, but it kept happening. Things came to a head last weekend. Jesus recently got a girlfriend, and we were all hanging out, me, my boyfriend, and Jesus' girlfriend. When Jesus came home from work that night and saw that there were a couple of dirty dishes in the sink and the house wasn't entirely clean, he went ballistic. Jesus yelled at me, "Why the hell isn't the house clean? And why you ain't cooked nothing?" I was taken aback. I told him, "We're all just hanging out, and there are only a few dishes. You got 2 hands. Use them if you care so much." He got even angrier and said, "It's not my job to clean up your mess. You're home all day. You should have done it." I snapped and told him, "First off, I'm not home all day. I work too. Secondly, you've got a girlfriend now. Ask her to cook for you." Jesus' girlfriend looked embarrassed, and my boyfriend was visibly uncomfortable. After that, I said, "I'm not your fucking housewife, Jesus. And I'm not going to let any man that I'm not fucking treat me like one. You're a grown-ass man, do your own damn chores." We argued for over 10 minutes, and Jesus kept insisting that since I'm the one who's usually home first, it's my responsibility to keep the place clean and cook. I told him he's being stupid and that this arrangement isn't working if he's going to treat me like his personal maid. So, AITA for going off on my roommate for trying to treat me like a housewife.
5 AITA for refusing to help my best friend pay for university after getting a large scholarship. I'm a prospective university student 18F, and I've been incredibly fortunate to receive a substantial scholarship that covers most of my tuition. This scholarship is the result of years of hard work, countless extracurricular activities, and maintaining top grades. My best friend, who has always struggled more academically, wasn't as lucky. Despite his best efforts, he didn't get any significant scholarships and is facing a daunting financial burden to attend university. Recently, he approached me with a desperate plea. He asked if I could use some of my scholarship money to help him pay for his tuition. He argued that since I have a lot of my expenses covered, I could afford to spare some of the money to support him. He promised to pay me back after graduation once he secures a job. I was shocked and explained that the scholarship money is strictly allocated for my education, and even if it wasn't, I couldn't risk my financial stability on a promise. Even though my fees are covered, I still need to find other ways to cover living costs and what the scholarship hasn't covered. Since then, my friend has been distant and resentful, accusing me of abandoning him when he needs help the most. He thinks I'm selfish for not sharing my good fortune, and most of our mutual friends have sided with him, saying that I could afford to help. Now, I feel torn between my commitment to my own future and the guilt of not helping my best friend. AITA.